So, last week's video, I think we can safely label it the rage. Let's talk about it. This is definitely not the video I was planning on filming tonight. I actually had a video that I've been very excited for. Unfortunately, schedules got a little mixed up, and now we're filming this because I knew I had to film this, but it's taken a lot to get the rage out of me. And like, in a perfect world, last week's video, I would have just deleted off the internet and acted like that never happened. I'm ashamed of my attitude in that video. I am ashamed of, like, my just general everything in that video. But I think that's an important side to share, because I'm diving down this new hole. And this hole is, I want to help other people tell their stories. I filmed last week's video the day that it happened, like in December, getting ready for Christmas. This wild thing happened and I reacted. And it was a very delayed reaction, which gave me that time to like fester on it and get really angry over it. And I feel like it was needed to share. Like, I feel like it still had this value to it, right? Because diving into this new era of like wanting to help other women share their stories, I made the grave mistake of filming with somebody that I've known forever, that I have a lot of love for, and I am not at that place yet. We had a lot of baggage going into that video, and like, there was a lot to it. Now, the interview itself, like, we hung out, we took my kids to a park, they played, they ate food with headphones on, and fell asleep. Like, most of that day was absolutely phenomenal. Like, we drove around, we saw another friend, hung out with him for a little while. It was great. It was a fun time. But I should have known going into reconnecting with her again that I just should have known to have kept my heart a little bit more guarded and to have been a little bit more cautious, right? Because it's not to say that I don't think that she'll, like, never be strong enough to get out. I hope that she'll be strong enough to get out of that situation, and I hope that that strength will come and she'll be out for good and living her best life away from a horrible, 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 terrible human being. A human being that probably needs to be in prison. Killing small animals, that is something that serial killers do. Probably not the person that you want to be around. Probably not the person that you want your kid around. My ex was horrible, don't get me wrong. He was a terrible person. But, like, he didn't kill small animals in front of me. So at least he had that going for him. The bar is really low, but, like, it's there. Ugh. I should have kept my heart guarded. And I should have been a little bit more cautious, and I should have been a little bit more reserved. She was in a new relationship, and things seemed to be really great for her, and I was so excited. I was like, this is it. This is how she's gonna do it. Like, yes, let's do this. Share your story. I got you. We already tried this before. She and I used to have a podcast together. And it got like 3 episodes in, and they got back together. So, I just should have went into this a little bit more cautiously. But I was like, I'm here for it. Let's do it. Let's do this. Yes. And I think it was just the hope that after 11 years, she finally was like, I've had enough. This is my breaking point. We're never returning to this. And I really hoped that that's what it was. And I was wrong. And it does scare me. It truly does scare me. I have a lot of fear for her. And like, my biggest issue throughout that whole thing was really the way that he spoke to me on that phone call. Because, like, it's one thing to have been told by my ex that I was a fat fucking bitch and a worthless piece of shit and a fucking cunt and whatever else he felt like fucking calling me, right? Like, it was one thing. Because he would call me those things when he was angry. And then he'd like, I'm so sorry. I'm a terrible person. And then he'd make me food. And like, we'd be good. But like, that was my relationship with my ex, right? Completely different thing. I have never been in a relationship with that man. Never slept with him. We've had like 4 conversations probably, at most. Maybe 5. Like, and just like based off of that limited, like, I'm not fucking you, I'm not dating you, I barely even talk to you. There's no reason for you to talk to me the way that you chose to talk to me. Like, Allie may let you talk to her that way, and she may put up with your abuse. I'm gonna let you know right now, you little, that I don't play that game. I know, I'm still being mean and the angry's coming out. That's why I whispered it. Because it's very hard to not be angry at him. 1, because he's a terrible human being. And 2, because he spoke to me that way. And like, I'm not getting anything out of this except for the verbal abuse. Like, at least with my ex, I got food. I got sex sometimes. Like, it wasn't good, but like, it was there. I got children out of it. Like, he had reasons that like he was put up with, right? Because like, the good things were so good for a little while until they weren't. This idiot, like, the same logic doesn't apply just because I am friends with the girl that is going against her better judgment. Like, it's not a trickle effect. You don't get to abuse everybody around her just because she puts up with you. After 5 conversations, we just are so tight that he's able to fucking abuse me over the phone? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. The rage is starting to come out because I'm not over it entirely. I'm trying to forgive. I'm trying to be the bigger person. It's hard. It is hard. It is so much easier to be the bigger person with my ex because the back of my head is like, we have kids together, you have to be civil, everything has to fucking, like, you have to adult. With him, there's nothing holding it back. There's like no reason that I have to remain civil except for the fact that like, I don't want to seethe in the anger and the rage and the hatred all the time, right? I just can't live that way. Like, I can't, while I could be mad right now because I'm still processing it and I'm still venting about it, because this is where I come to vent, the internet. Like, I'm just getting all the rage out so that way I can move on with my life. I don't like holding on to grudges. I don't like holding on to anger. That's just never been my style, right? Prime example. I made a video with Allie. She kicked me out of her apartment to move him back in. after begging me to help her kick him out of said apartment and move in with her. And as soon as she was like, I left him, I was like, cool beans, yeah, great for you, let's make a video. Like, I wish Allie the best. I wish her nothing but safety. I wish her son nothing but safety. I pray for her son. Like, he is in my prayers every single night. I pray for her safety every single night. But other than that, like, we're not friends anymore. And that's not me saying that I don't care anymore. It's not me saying that I don't have love for her anymore. I always will. And, like, I'll always be super sad because I love her little boy. Like, I was being called auntie. And I mean, she had said that we could remain friends as long as her ex never knew about it and things like that. And a part of me was tempted because I still want to be auntie. And I want to know, like, I want to be some kind of positivity in that little boy's life, because him being around that man is gonna fuck him up one way or another. He's either gonna think that it's okay to act that way, or he's gonna have so much trauma. So my heart breaks for her son in the way that my heart broke for my kids, in the way that I felt like I failed them when I was staying in my own relationship. And yeah, I wanted to talk about it all now that I've had a little bit more time to, like, process it and come to terms with it all, because I am very heartbroken over it. I am very scared for her safety, and I wanted to keep last week's video up to show that from the other side, like, from the person that, like, is watching their friend go through that, it's hard. It is so fucking hard. And while it may seem horrible, and while your friend may also take issue with it, or your family member may take issue with it, sometimes it is necessary to set the boundary of, I love you, but you cannot remain in my life anymore